The story begins with a young man urgently telling his boss that he needs to take 2 days off for a family emergency. Despite the department being busy, he promises to make up for the missed work upon his return. However, his boss rejects the request, reminding him that the company's new short drama department is severely understaffed and that leaves are only granted for special circumstances like weddings and funerals. Desperate, the young man explains that his mother is sick and hospitalized, pleading for an exception. The boss, however, asks why his father or other relatives can't take care of her, questioning if he truly needs to go back home. The boss dismisses the request, stating that it's just an illness and that he can request leave if the situation becomes critical. Shocked and disheartened, the young man remains silent. The boss then lectures him about the importance of sacrifices for career advancement, revealing that he worked overtime even during his own mother's funeral. He questions the young man's dedication, criticizing him for being too delicate and pointing out that everyone wants time off for various reasons, which would disrupt the company's operations. The boss tells the young man that in the fast-paced new media industry, timing is crucial. He asks who will be responsible if someone else breaks the news first with a video in his absence. The boss emphasizes that the entire department's performance shouldn't be jeopardized for one person. In response, the young man insists he can work from home and stay in constant communication. Frustrated, the boss tells him to quit if he wants an easy life, suggesting he settle up with finance and spend as much time as he wants with his parents, implying he can remain immature forever if he chooses. The boss stands up and makes it clear that the young man, who graduated from a third-tier university, only got a job at the biggest media company in Sang City because they urgently needed people and made an exception to hire him. He reminds him that the least qualified employees at the company come from first-tier universities and highlights his own exceptional qualifications, being bilingual. The boss advises the young man not to be ungrateful and waste this opportunity by constantly trying to slack off and avoid work. He emphasizes that trends don't wait for anyone, nor will the position. He urges the young man to think carefully before deciding if he still wants to take leave. As Xingwang sits in the waiting area smoking, his phone rings. It's his dad. His father, Mr. Hang, asks if he can come back home. In the background, a nurse tells Mr. Hang that the hospital needs Ms. Zhuo's medical fee settled, stating they've been flexible enough and further delays will be difficult. Mr. Hang assures the nurse he'll handle it in a few days, but she sternly reminds him he said the same thing earlier, warning that Ms. Zhuo will be discharged if payment isn't made. Mr. Hang apologizes for being distracted and asks Xingwang to repeat what he said. Xingwang assures his dad he'll return in a few days and help with the medical expenses. However, his dad insists that Xingwang shouldn't worry, as he's already borrowed money from relatives and friends, and reassures him that his mom's medical insurance will cover a significant portion of the costs. Xingwang insists he'll cover the shortfall and advises his dad not to borrow more, urging him not to worry. His dad reminds him that he recently graduated, and living costs in Sang City are high, questioning what savings he could possibly have. He tells Xingwang not to suffer or take risky loans. Despite his dad's reassurances, Xingwang insists it's fine and that he has enough money. Looking at his bank account, he recalls working for a year and a half, earning a modest monthly salary of 5,000 yuan. By sharing a bunk bed, spending minimally on takeout, and earning extra money by editing videos, he managed to save 50,000 yuan. Xingwang thinks this amount should cover his mom's medical expenses for a while. Reflecting on his life, Xingwang realizes he has lived responsibly for over 20 years, but today, he will make a decision that goes against his ancestral values. He knows there are plenty of job opportunities, but his parents cannot wait. Determined, he decides to resign, questioning why he should stay in such a crappy, inhumane company. After a while, Xingwang goes to the HR department and 20 minutes later, he comes out officially unemployed. He can't believe that in this job market and economic climate, he dared to quit without another job lined up, realizing he's being really reckless. But suddenly, a golden screen appears, revealing that the ultimate freedom system has been activated. It explains that by quitting his job, he made a decision against his ancestors' wishes and awards him 88,888 yuan. Shocked, Xingwang questions what this is. He looks around, wondering who is playing a short video so loudly that it's buzzing in his brain. As he stares at the screen, he receives a message confirming a deposit of 88,888 yuan in his bank account. Xingwang wonders if this is a scam and double-checks the deposit, unable to believe he received such a large sum. The system then addresses him as a master, assuring him not to doubt it. It informs him that he has awakened the system and encourages him to start living it up. If Xingwang hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it was actually happening. As he checks the display, he questions whether he truly awakened a system called the Ultimate Freedom System, recalling that he activated it by resigning from his job. He feels he has grasped how this system works and believes he will find opportunities to use it. A girl approaches Xingwang, asking what he's thinking about and whether he has prepared her upcoming live stream operation plan. Her name is Jiao Wen, a singing and dancing blogger with 8 million followers online. As she comes closer, Xingwang's nose starts to bleed, realizing it's her. She asks him again if he has done it. Distracted, Xingwang asks her to repeat what she wants, admitting he wasn't paying attention. Jiao Wen notes that he seems distracted and teases him, asking if he has finally opened his eyes to his big sister. Xingwang responds that she still enjoys joking around. As she gets closer, she reminds him that she asked for more operational resources because her top-paying fans have been less active and the recharge flow has slightly decreased. Xingwang reflects that Jiao Wen, the girl in front of him, is the top female internet celebrity whose live streaming operations he used to manage. Online, she is known as the sexiest dance goddess, but offline, she is friendly and unpretentious. Her greatest flaw and strength is her love for joking around. Xingwang apologizes and tells her that he has already resigned and will no longer be responsible for influencer operations. He explains that the company will arrange a handover, leaving Jiao Wen confused and questioning why he resigned so suddenly. Xingwang knows that although Jiao Wen doesn't look down on others, she only gives him extra attention because he is familiar with influencer operations and is easy to talk to. He reminds himself that after resigning, everyone goes their separate ways, and there's not much else to say, thinking he has become clear-headed in this world. Jiao Wen stands in front of him, asking if he really wants to resign, as she still prefers him managing her operations and doesn't trust anyone else. Xingwang blushes, telling her that he has already completed all the procedures, while thinking about how close she is. Jiao Wen, also blushing, wonders why Xingwang is acting weird today, since he would usually cheerfully play along when she acted cute. Jiao Wen asks if he really wants to leave her by herself, thinking that his resignation was very sudden and asking if something had happened. Realizing that she is being nice to him because she sees profit in him, Xingwang tells himself not to be deceived. He tells Jiao Wen that he wants to give himself a long vacation. Jiao Wen pushes herself against him and asks which company he plans to go to next and if they will become competitors, expressing her concern that her operations will be taken over by someone else and that she doesn't know how long it will take to get used to them. Xingwang couldn't hold back anymore as Jiao Wen pressed her chest against him, causing his nose to bleed profusely. Regaining control, he thinks that with the system, he can easily become a billionaire and wonders what kind of beauty he can't have. Looking at her face, Xingwang realizes she has had too much cosmetic work done. With a straight face, he tells her she should get some maintenance done on her nose as it seems a bit crooked. Surprised, Gao covers her nose and asks what he means, pulling out a mirror and questioning how it could be crooked, insisting that's impossible. Upon closer inspection, she realizes it does seem a bit crooked and worries about the upcoming live broadcast, realizing she needs to fix this quickly. The system informs Xingwang that he actually refused to be a beauty's lap dog, praising him for expressing his true thoughts without holding back and calling him bold and sincere. The system rewards him with 23,333 yuan, shocking him. He pulls out his phone and sees that the deposit has indeed been made, making him smirk as he realizes this is what ultimate freedom means. He understands that he just needs to be himself and refuse to be a simp, and the system will reward him accordingly. Gao thanks Xingwang for pointing out the issue, admitting she hadn't noticed it. She tells him that since he has decided to resign, she won't hold him back and suggests they might still have opportunities to collaborate in the future, wishing him a bright future. Xingwang is shocked, expecting her to be furious after having her flaw pointed out. He wonders why she is so calm and if she is being serious or pretending. Gao acknowledges their long working relationship and says she will treat him to a farewell dinner tonight. She offers to help him find a job if he has trouble, mentioning she knows some bosses in the industry and believes his exceptional skills will ensure he doesn't struggle to find opportunities. Xingwang, surprised by her kindness, reflects that she might actually be quite nice despite his low education and her previous words not just being empty talk. Xingwang insists that he should be the one treating her to dinner, questioning how he could let her pay. Gao tells him his salary isn't high and he should save his money, but Xingwang interrupts, saying that since he is leaving, he shouldn't be stingy this time. He remembers her saying they might collaborate in the future and suggests considering this his advance thanks for her support. Gao blushes, admitting she just realized he is about to leave and that she doesn't know him well. Xingwang tells her he is all packed up and will head out first, promising to contact her after work. Outside, Xingwang recalls his previous habits of walking whenever possible, using public transport if walking wasn't feasible, and only taking taxis when absolutely necessary. He would carpool with others after public transport stopped running at 11 p.m., and even that was a luxury. But today, he wants to indulge and opts for the most expensive ride available. When the car arrives, the driver announces that Dida Luxury Travel has arrived and invites Xingwang to get in. Realizing the car arrived within 3 minutes, Xingwang feels a sense of luxury he has never experienced before. He remembers how he used to get home around midnight when he couldn't find someone to carpool with. Today, he feels like he has truly leaped to a higher class. The driver opens the door for Xingwang and urges him to get in. As Xingwang settles into the car, the system rewards him with 50,000 yuan for feeling generous and taking a taxi without worrying about the cost. The driver confirms the itinerary to the Baoxing Road intersection, which Xingwang acknowledges, adding a stop at the Laoshi pancake shop. As the driver accelerates, Xingwang relishes the luxurious pushback of the car. Upon arrival at the shop, Xingwang steps out and approaches the counter. The lady behind the counter, recognizing him, asks if he wants the usual pancake without egg and sausage. Surprising everyone around, Xingwang replies that he wants 2 extra eggs and 2 pure meat sausages instead of the usual starch sausages. Xingwang flashes back to when his salary was 5,000 yuan. He spent 800 on rent and couldn't afford to spend more than 20 yuan on food daily. A basic pancake cost 8 yuan, and he never dared to add an egg. But today, he went all out and spent 15 yuan on one meal. He smiles, realizing he has leveled up, enjoying a meal with 2 eggs and 2 pure meat sausages. He thinks everyone should envy him for this indulgence, and he even envies himself. The people around him are shocked by his order, wondering when they will be able to show off like this. The system, also shocked, praises him for his leap in living standards, rewarding him with 20,000 yuan. As he walks away proudly, Xingwang thinks about how wonderful this afternoon is. He feels the satisfaction of having a big meal and thinks that next time, he'll add 5 eggs. Back when Xingwang was a student, he was so broke that he couldn't afford any form of entertainment. Even after starting work, he not only lacked money but also had no time for leisure. As he arrives in front of a shopping mall, he wonders what normal people do for fun. Then he suddenly realizes that now he has plenty of money, so he can indulge in shopping. He remembers that he needs to treat Haowen to dinner tonight at a high-end restaurant that enforces a strict dress code. Realizing his current outfit isn't up to standard, he decides to shop for new clothes. As Xingwang browses through the various stores, he's amazed by the size of the mall and the pleasant scent of oranges wafting through the air. However, he struggles to understand the brand names because they're all in English. To his surprise, such a large mall doesn't have an Adidas store. He chides himself for thinking small-mindedly and resolves to go all out. When he arrives at Louis Vuitton, the staff notices him. One of the workers inspects his outfit and assumes his paw. To Xingwang's shock, all the workers start to avoid him. He wonders aloud if anyone is going to help him, noting that despite his appearance, their snobbishness is too obvious. Xingwang, feeling tired from work and pressed for time, informs the staff that he just wants to purchase something worth 150,000 and be done with it. Frustrated by their lack of attention, he turns to leave, saying he'll just go to Hermes next door. Hearing this, the attendants stop what they're doing and rush towards him, calling him sir and asking if he's interested in clothes or bags. One attendant suggests he wait a moment and have some tea while she brings items for him to peruse. Seeing their swift change in behavior, Xingwang can't help but smirk, realizing that money truly speaks volumes. After selecting and wearing his new outfit, he heads out, accompanied by an attendant who sees him off and another who tells him he's welcome back anytime. Xingwang notes that the service for wealthy customers in luxury stores is indeed first class, as someone even carries his bags downstairs for him. The attendant carrying the bag invites him to a jewelry appreciation event at the end of the month, and Xingwang replies that he will attend if he has time. When asked if he wants the items delivered to his residence, he declines, saying he prefers to handle things himself. The attendant bows and wishes him a good day. As Xingwang walks past a group of women, he overhears one saying to the other that there's an LV and Hermes store at Longda Plaza, and if she wants to buy those brands, she should check there. The other woman replies that it's too expensive and she can't afford it, adding that only Sister Hu is worthy of such items. She mentions that they wouldn't dare buy luxury goods at a boutique and can only purchase through agents. Hearing their conversation, Xingwang glances at his purchases and acknowledges that they are indeed expensive. The system, surprised, notes that Xingwang has spent 3 years' worth of salary in one go and completed the achievement of making his first significant expenditure. Although he was a bit showy, the system finds it satisfying and rewards Xingwang with 660,000 yuan, praising him as awesome. Realizing that spending more leads to earning more from the system, Xingwang understands he is just a step away from becoming a millionaire. Motivated, he knows he needs to keep working hard. Working hard my ass, bro is living the dream life everyone wants. At the Lingwei Western restaurant, Xingwang arrives in his bright, luxurious new clothes. An attendant greets him warmly and informs him that she will take him to his reserved private room. Realizing he has arrived a bit early, he appreciates the attendant's warm smile as she explains that the private room for distinguished guests has a separate area where he can rest, have some desserts, and wait for his friends. Following the woman, Xingwang reflects on how clothes truly make the man, recalling that he had never received such treatment in places like this before. When they reach the area, the attendant shows him to the separate room and points out the desserts and tea on the table. She tells him he can help himself to the food and reminds him that if he needs any service, he can simply ring the bell. As he walks into the room, the attendant bows, assures him she won't disturb his rest, and wishes him an enjoyable meal. Looking through the glass window, Xingwang marvels at the view from the 40th floor, a sight he had never seen before. He realizes that with money, he can enjoy the best services and access heights unreachable by others. His long-held fantasies are finally coming true. Feeling generous, he decides to transfer some money back home to his dad, thinking it will be a pleasant surprise for his family. As he sends the money, his phone notifies him of a 100,000 yuan transfer. Anticipating his parents might question the source of the money, he decides to tell them it's from his part-time job, hoping they won't be too suspicious or shocked. At the same time, Jiao sweats profusely as she poses and dances, telling the chat to get more intense with the fire if they think she made a good choice. She addresses the big brother on the leaderboard, mentioning that everyone is missing his rockets and that it's his time to show dominance. As she gets closer to the phone, she begs him, blushing and sweating. Meanwhile, Xingwang looks at her stream through his phone, remembering that he sent her the location and restaurant name, realizing she didn't reply because she was streaming. When the big brother sends the rocket, Jiao thanks him, makes a heart with her hands, and tells the chat that the live stream ends here, promising to see them tomorrow. As she takes off her heels and rests on the chair, wiping off her sweat, a few girls walk in and ask what they are eating today. Jiao replies that she already has plans tonight. One of the girls asks if there is something going on and who the benefactor is. Jiao tells her not to talk nonsense, reminding her that it's Xingwang. The blonde girl remarks that Jiao is still thinking about him even after he left the job, asking how she could accuse her of talking nonsense before. The red-haired girl asks if there is something between them, but Jiao stops them, explaining that he helped her a lot when they were working together. Now that he has quit, they are just having a meal together, and she adds that he is treating. The blonde-haired girl tells Jiao that she wants to go too. Jiao replies that it's fine and that they will probably just eat something simple, reminding them that since Xingwang is treating, if there's something expensive, they should pay for themselves as if it's a gathering. The blonde-haired girl agrees, saying she's okay with it and will treat herself after a long day. She then asks Shinno, the red-haired girl, if she wants to come too. Shinno agrees, stating it's only right and that they shouldn't take advantage of others. However, in her mind, she questions Xingwang's stinginess, recalling how he wouldn't even add an egg to his pancake, and wonders what kind of fancy restaurant he could take them to. Jiao tells them she needs to remove her makeup first and that they should go ahead and meet in the parking lot. When they arrive in the parking lot, Jiao unlocks her car, noting it's a good thing her car isn't restricted today, and invites everyone to take her car. The blonde-haired girl laments that it's been hard for her to get ads recently and wonders when she'll be able to buy a car like Jiao. Jiao suggests she become a dance streamer, but the blonde-haired girl freaks out, denying it, knowing how tiring it is and admitting she doesn't have the stamina to dance from morning till evening like Jiao. She tells Jiao that she's just waiting for a kind big brother from the leaderboard to pull her out of this situation. Shinno tells Zhongqingqing that she's overthinking, saying in their industry, it's good enough not to get taken advantage of by big brothers, let alone expecting to be saved by one. Qingqing questions if she can't even dream a little, to which Shinno replies that it's fine to dream all she wants, while internally questioning if Qingqing really believes Jiao bought her fancy car just by dancing. Shinno suspects Jiao must have slept with many big brothers on the leaderboard and wonders how she could be the company's top performer with just her looks. Shinno then asks Jiao where they are having dinner. Jiao checks her phone and is shocked by what she sees. Watching her reaction, Shinno smirks, internally questioning if Jiao is that shocked because the place is too shabby. Jiao tells them that the restaurant is Lingwei, to which Qingqing asks if it's the same name as the popular restaurant. Jiao Wen confirms that it's the one in the Jingwu building. Qingqing, astonished, asks if it's really the super famous Michelin 3-star restaurant, remembering that the place costs at least 3,000 per person and is very hard to get a reservation. She wonders aloud if Xingwang really hit it big and got promoted, which is why he quit. Xinno suggests it might just be a restaurant in the same building, reminding them that some people like to post nearby locations to show off and confuse others. Jiao Wen tells her not to judge so quickly, insisting that she knows Xingwang isn't that kind of person. However, Xinno internally brushes it off, thinking Xingwang might get embarrassed soon. Jiao Wen encourages them to just go and see for themselves as they get into the car and drive off. On the road, Qingqing comments on the stability and strong shock resistance of the Audi, contrasting it with her second-hand Mini, which is all bumpy. Xinno reminds her that she has many wealthy followers in her live stream and that, as a beautiful blogger, she should be able to get some of those resources. Xinno then demonstrates, in a sexy voice, how Qingqing can pull on her collar a bit and use a softer voice, suggesting that whether it's beauty or dance, she should lower her standards a bit. She assures Qingqing that big shots will send her rockets, and she won't have to worry about ads anymore. Blushing, Qingqing tells Xinno to stop it, as her live stream only has female fans. Xinno changes her tone and asks who wouldn't want to earn money properly if they could. She adds that if a rich guy truly wanted to marry her, she would become a full-time housewife right away. With a gloomy voice, Xinno asks Jiao Wen why she is silent and questions if she is looking down on her. Jiao Wen replies that she just thinks that if they are together for a momentary attraction and not financially independent, they'll be at a disadvantage and have no say at home. She explains that how a guy gets with them might be the same way he gets with someone else, and as long as there's money, there will always be young girls around. She doesn't want to guard against that every day. Xinno asks Jiao Wen if that is really what she thinks, internally telling her to stop pretending to be high and mighty, considering that her dances in a live stream are more provocative than anyone else's. Jiao Wen responds that she just wants to be self-reliant and earn as much as she can while she still can, reminding them that men can betray them, but money won't. As they arrive at the parking area of the restaurant, they step out of the car. Qingqing asks Jiao Wen if they shouldn't double-check, noting that even with her high monthly income, she might not be willing to spend it here. Qingqing wonders what if Xingwang got the wrong address. Xinno doubles down, telling Jiao Wen to confirm, as it would be embarrassing to go to a high-end restaurant and leave without a reservation. She reminds them that if someone recognizes them and posts a video online, they will lose followers. Jiao Wen agrees to call Xingwang. After the phone rings for a while, Xinno questions if there's still no answer and internally smirks, thinking it's Jiao Wen's fault for hanging out with show-offs and getting dragged into this. Jiao Wen thinks that Xingwang might be busy, but Xinno, with a fake smile, suggests that maybe something came up and Xingwang couldn't answer. She questions if he would intentionally mess with her and suggests they go upstairs first, internally eager to see what the top one looks like. Hopping into the elevator, Jiao Wen confirms that they should go upstairs first, while internally noting that Lingwei is expensive. She knows that even though she can afford it, Xingwang's salary level is usually very frugal. Jiao Wen knows that Lingwei would be a huge expense for Xingwang and wonders if he could be joking. If that were the case, she'd have to pay for the meal. As they arrive at the floor, Jiao Wen peeks through the entrance, waiting for Xingwang. She looks at her phone, questioning why he isn't answering yet. To her surprise, the attendant from before greets them and asks if they have a reservation. Jiao Wen stutters, but Xinno answers for her, confirming they do have a reservation. Jiao Wen tells the attendant that it should be under Xingwang's name. Xinno smirks, internally recalling that an operations job at Xingwang's company pays 5,000 yuan a month, and one meal here would cost him at least 3 months' salary. She is eager to see how Jiao Wen would handle this situation. The attendant tells them to follow her, mentioning that Xingwang has been waiting for them for a long time. This surprises Xinno, who questions if this is really happening. As the waitress guides the girls to meet Xingwang, Xinno internally notes that Jiao Wen is really lucky. She thinks about how the company provides Jiao Wen with resources, helping her firmly secure the top spot, while Xinno remains in second place. She also resents how all kinds of admirers try to gain Jiao Wen's attention. Xinno considers that Xingwang might be willing to spend big, even though he could end up losing both his money and the girl. Smirking, she wonders if Jiao Wen really likes someone who pretends to be rich. As they arrive at the lift, the waitress instructs them to get in and presses the button for the top floor. Inside the lift, Qingqing voices her concerns to Jiao Wen, admitting she's really worried now. She suggests it could be someone with the same name and asks if they should double-check, as it would be too embarrassing if they got it wrong. Jiao Wen listens, but Qingqing continues, revealing that the elevator is exclusively for VIP customers to access the top-floor viewing rooms and that the per capita consumption is at least 10,000 yuan, shocking Jiao Wen. Xinno, however, internally scoffs, convinced it must be someone with the same name. She thinks that even if Xingwang grits his teeth and abstains from eating or drinking, he might just save up that much with 3 months' worth of salary. Xinno reasons that even if it's really him, she wants to see how Xingwang will handle the three of them tonight. She suspects that Xingwang is being clever by noticing someone with the same name and making a reservation at the restaurant as a stunt. She believes that the more he boasts, the more likely he is to be exposed. As they arrive at the 40th floor, the waitress opens the door to the private room for them and invites them to be seated. In my opinion, the waitress looks so much better than the three women, even though they're dressed in revealing clothes. As the three enter the private room, Jiao Wen questions where Xingwang is and pulls out her phone, while Qingqing also takes out her phone and suggests they take some photos since they're already there. She asks the others if they aren't going to take photos, reminding them that they can't take photos in the lobby but only in the private rooms. She adds that whether they end up eating or not, taking photos would still make it feel like they did, internally noting that she can post them on social media. No one will know if she really ate there or just snuck in. Sitting down with a judging look, Xinno tells Qingqing to take the photos herself, internally thinking that this is exactly what she expected from Xingwang, inviting guests but not being present himself. Qingqing notes that she has never dined at such an expensive restaurant in her life and wonders if she'll ever have the chance to come here again. While Qingqing is snapping her photos, Xinno asks Jiao Wen if anyone has replied to her messages and warns her not to end up making a fool of themselves if this turns out to be a misunderstanding. As the girls continue their conversation, the waitress knocks on a door within the private room, asking if Xingwang is awake because his guests have arrived. Jiao Wen, now uncertain, responds affirmatively, telling Xinno that they may have gotten the wrong person, as Xingwang is just an ordinary office worker who shouldn't be able to afford to eat here. Xinno, hearing this, feels even more convinced that her suspicions are correct, internally confirming her accusations. As the girls finish their conversation, Xingwang walks out of his room, apologizing and explaining that he fell asleep earlier and woke up to 4 or 5 missed calls. He asks if they haven't been waiting long and then tells the waitress to start serving the food. Jiao Wen is left speechless as she takes in the sight of Xingwang, comparing how he looked at the company to now. Instinctively, she adopts a more seductive posture. Qingqing, astonished, questions if this really is Xingwang, noting his branded clothes. She points out to Xinno that his jacket is the same one Liang wore before, costing 40,000 yuan. Xinno, on the other hand, wears a dissatisfied expression, silently noting that Xingwang is dressed in all of Louis Vuitton's latest season. She begins to wonder if Xingwang is actually a hidden rich second-generation heir. Gritting her teeth, Xinno internally questions how Jiao Wen got so lucky, quietly hooking up with a wealthy second-generation heir, thinking to herself that Jiao Wen is really good at pretending. As Xinno gives Jiao Wen a side eye, Jiao Wen responds to Xingwang, telling him that they just arrived as well. Xingwang notices the other girls and recognizes Qingqing but asks who Xinno is. Trying to make herself look better, Xinno introduces herself, but Xingwang, still a bit groggy, comments that without the beauty filter, she looks a bit different. Xinno replies that it's okay, attributing it to her light makeup today, while internally seething at his remark. When Xingwang turns to Jiao Wen, she starts to explain that she was just getting off work and 2 of her colleagues wanted to come along, but before she can continue, the waiters begin bringing their food, telling them to enjoy their meal. As the waiters place the dishes on the table, Jiao is shocked by the expensive spread, wondering how they would even afford to split the bill. She questions what Xingwang is trying to do, thinking there's no need to put on airs. As they sit beside each other, Qingqing whispers to Jiao that there is a rich second-generation heir right beside them. She asks Jiao if she thinks Xingwang quit his job to go back and inherit the family business, but Jiao replies that she doesn't know either, leaving them both speechless. Xingwang looks at the food on the table and wonders how someone can have an appetite for this, dismissing it as just soup, even though it looks fancy. However, I can't help but notice a luxurious steak on his plate. Qingqing then asks Xingwang if he minds her taking a photo first, to which he replies that it's fine and she can take as many as she wants. As Qingqing snaps her photos, Xinno turns to Jiao and asks what's really going on, questioning if she's deliberately keeping them in suspense. Jiao replies that she doesn't know either, explaining that she's not actually that close with Xingwang. Apart from work-related communications, they haven't had much personal interaction. She mentions that the few marketing activities he helped her with were quite effective, and she's grateful to him for that. Reflecting on Xingwang's past actions and behavior, Jiao starts to think that maybe he's just a low-profile and pragmatic rich second-generation heir, and that this time, he probably didn't want a girl to pay for the meal, so he revealed his wealth. While they speculate about his wealth, Xingwang asks the waitress if there's any more down-to-earth food that's filling. Before the waitress can reply, Qingqing jumps in, teasing him, saying he really dared to ask that, recalling how last time, someone treated her to a meal that cost thousands per person, but she still wasn't full, it just looked good for photos and made her feel like a socialite on social media. The waitress, unfazed, offers recommendations, asking if Xingwang would like slow-cooked black truffle beef ribs with salmon roe sauce or pineapple monkfish liver. She continues, suggesting grilled beef tripe or Alaskan king crab, adding that their latest crab weighs about 20 kilos, and if he wishes, she can ask the chef to customize it for him. Xingwang, unimpressed, replies that hearing these names kills his appetite because it's boring, and he tells the waitress that he wants something cooked with intense heat, not slow-cooked dishes. Xingwang instructs the waitress to bring more of their imported crab, imported beef, and lamb, and to cut the meat into chunks. Hearing this, Qingqing remarks that it's her first time seeing someone order like this in a high-end restaurant, calling it an eye-opener. Jiao is left speechless, while Xinno comments that if Xingwang wanted to eat these kinds of dishes, he didn't need to come to a French restaurant. Internally, Xinno ponders whether he's really a rich second-generation heir, thinking he looks more like someone who just acquired wealth and wondering if he could be an imposter. As Xingwang continues ordering, he requests grilled kidneys, barbecue skewers, and asks if they can make those dishes. The waitress, reluctantly, replies that they can, but quickly retracts her statement, explaining that they only serve set menu items and don't have what he's asking for, apologizing for the inconvenience. Hearing this, Xingwang calmly asks if she can get the manager, as he would like to discuss the menu with them, reminding her that he is not satisfied with today's offerings. The waitress, surprised that Xingwang isn't joking, agrees and asks him to wait for a moment, visibly taken aback by his unusual requests. As the manager arrives at the private room, he introduces himself and apologizes, explaining that they are a French restaurant and only serve French cuisine. Xinno, internally scoffing, calls Xingwang a bumpkin, thinking it was obvious that he would be refused for insisting on having barbecue in a French restaurant. Noticing her judgmental glare, Xingwang calmly addresses the manager, stating that he is willing to pay 300,000 for the meal and, right now, he wants to eat grilled kidneys and lamb skewers. He adds that if they can make this happen, he will give an extra 50,000 as a tip. Everyone in the room is stunned by his audacious proposal, including the manager. After a moment of shock, the manager, now eager to please, asks Xingwang how he would like his kidneys cooked. Xingwang, placing a hand on the manager's shoulder, tells him that he will reward him with the largest kidney sashimi to commemorate his lost defiance and mentions that he still prefers the manager's defiant look from earlier. The manager, regaining his composure, stands proudly, fixes his posture, and assures Xingwang that he will instruct the kitchen immediately. He then politely asks Xingwang to take a seat and leaves to relay the instructions. At that moment, the system notifies Xingwang that he is in a high-end French restaurant and praises him for being thick-skinned, disregarding dining etiquette, and making the restaurant change its rules to accommodate his wishes. The system rewards him with 500,000 yuan and encourages him to keep pushing boundaries and go wild. Noticing that the system had already rewarded him, Xingwang thinks to himself that this system really knows how to resolve internal conflicts. He then asks the girls if dining shouldn't be all about relaxation and getting full. Qingqing immediately agrees, while internally noting that taking photos of grilled kidneys in a high-end restaurant might actually be more interesting for social media. After a short wait, the waiters return with the new food, while the other waiters remove the previous dishes. As the delicious skewers are laid out, Qingqing, shocked, remarks that money truly talks and that with enough money, you can do whatever you want. While glancing at her phone, she internally wonders who would believe it if word got out that she had barbecue skewers at a Michelin 3-star French restaurant on the top floor of Qian Tower, the tallest building in Beijing. As the new food is set on the table and all the girls gather around, Xingwang, with a smile, asks the ladies if they would like to join him for dinner. After finishing his meal, Xingwang grabs a tissue, wipes his face, and tells the girls to excuse him as he needs to use the restroom. As he walks away, Qingqing turns to the other girls and remarks that Xingwang's outfit must cost at least 150,000 yuan, and adding in the dinner expenses, he's clearly a super-rich second-generation heir. She then looks at Jiao Wen and suggests that for someone like him to work at their company, it must be because he likes her and wants to get close to her. Jiao Wen replies modestly, saying that she doesn't think she has that much charm, and speculates that Xingwang probably didn't want to be too high-profile while working. Now that he's about to quit, he likely doesn't care about keeping a low profile anymore. Qingqing agrees, adding that some rich second-generation kids just like to experience different aspects of life. Xinno, however, presses Jiao Wen, asking if she isn't moved by all of this and if she doesn't like him. Qingqing chimes in, saying that the idea of a top-tier rich kid lavishly spending money just to have dinner with her would be enough to make anyone's heart flutter. Xinno, noticing how calm Jiao Wen seems, questions if she already knew about Xingwang's background, hinting that it's unfair if she's been keeping such big news from them. She adds that this might be why Jiao Wen said she wasn't interested in that previous tip donor, because she already had her sights set on a bigger catch, realizing that they might have been made fools of all along. Oh Lord, the curves! Jiao Wen quickly defends herself, insisting that she genuinely didn't know about Xingwang's background and that they're not close at all. She asks how she could possibly have feelings for him, emphasizing that they haven't had any private interactions and that she had no clue he came from a wealthy family before tonight. Jiao Wen explains that at work, Xingwang always had a modest demeanor. He was ambitious and hardworking, often staying late for overtime during busy periods, and seemed just like any other dedicated employee. Xinno, still skeptical, interrupts her, saying she'll reluctantly accept Jiao Wen's explanation for now. However, she asks if Jiao Wen thinks it's possible that Xingwang might be faking his wealth. She points out that nowadays, many people pretend to be wealthy heirs to impress girls. They treat them to luxury meals, rent luxury cars, and wear designer clothes, often maxing out their credit cards to maintain the facade. Xinno adds that they've all heard stories about some top donors doing exactly this, sometimes even resorting to online loans to keep up appearances. She wonders aloud if it's possible that Xingwang could be one of those people. Now that the idea has been mentioned, Qingqing starts to wonder if Xingwang had been pretending to be poor all this time, and she remarks that they should commend his acting skills if that's the case. Xinno, with a malicious grin, suggests that it wouldn't be difficult to verify if he is really from a wealthy family, noting that there are plenty of ways they could find out. She asks if they should try to investigate. Jiao Wen, putting down her empty skewer stick, questions whether that's really necessary, pointing out that it seems a bit intrusive. She reminds the girls that Xingwang is treating them to an expensive dinner, and yet they're sitting here doubting whether he's a fraud. She tells them that it doesn't seem right. Internally, Xinno dismisses Jiao Wen's objections as pretended innocence, but outwardly she tells Jiao Wen not to underestimate her own value. Xinno points out that as a popular streamer, Jiao Wen has a lot to offer, and someone could gain a lot from winning her over. She explains that spending a few hundred yuan on Jiao Wen might be worth it for some people and warns that this is exactly how manipulative people operate. They charm you, make you feel special, and get you emotionally invested. Once you're hooked and can't easily leave, they reveal their true colors, which could be quite dangerous. Jiao Wen responds by insisting that she has absolutely no intention of developing a romantic relationship with Xingwang because of this, but Xinno cuts her off, saying that's enough talk. She tells Jiao Wen that she doesn't need to do anything specific but just follow her lead later when she tries to verify Xingwang's status. Xinno reminds them that they are all friends and only want to look out for her. As they walk towards the car in the parking lot outside the restaurant, Jiao Wen thinks to herself that if it turns out Xingwang is really faking his wealth, she will personally cover all the expenses they incurred tonight. She sincerely hopes he isn't going down such a deceptive path, as she believes there's nothing wrong with living an honest and simple life. While they're walking, Qingqing, curious, asks Xingwang if he has a girlfriend. He replies that he doesn't and has been single since birth, a genuine lone wolf in the romance department, leaving Qingqing shocked. He adds that he's been so focused on his career that he hardly had time to think about dating, internally noting that being a corporate employee is demanding enough, but it at least comes with a steady paycheck. The idea of becoming a lovesick fool after work hours seems like too much trouble, as it would be quite miserable, and he's certainly not foolish enough to put himself in such a position. The thought gives him shivers down his spine. As they reach the car, Shinno opens the door and suggests that since it's only 9 o'clock, they should continue the evening at a bar. She adds that although she isn't as rich as Xingwang, she can still treat them all to a few drinks. Shinno recommends they go to the Fugue Bar, mentioning that she's a regular there and that the ambience is quite nice. She also heard that many popular internet celebrities frequent the place, and they might even get a chance to network and learn from them. Xingwang replies that he doesn't mind, and they all head out in the car. As they drive toward the bar, Xingwang contemplates his future. Now that he has some capital to invest, he considers the possibility of opening his own media company. With his background in operations, he believes he might find success in that field. It certainly wouldn't hurt to get acquainted with some internet celebrities tonight, as it could be beneficial for his future endeavors. When they arrive at the Fugue Bar, Shinno gives everyone a heads up about the prices, warning that they are high. She says she can only afford to treat each of them to 2 drinks and admits she'll feel the pressure if they drink more. She asks them not to think she's stingy and wonders if anyone minds. Qingqing casually replies that she'll have whatever's available, while Jiao Wen advises Xingwang to just have a couple of drinks since they're here to have fun, to which he agrees. As they walk toward the bar, Xingwang notices a wealthy-looking person accompanied by several ladies and feels a rush of excitement. He never thought he would have the privilege of visiting the famous Fugue Bar, a place known for its exclusive clientele and high-profile visitors. Inside the Fugue Bar, the DJ pumps out music as people dance joyfully, while others engage in more provocative activities, some even out in the open. The atmosphere is lively and intense. As the girls and Xingwang settle into their spot, Shinno orders a margarita and tells everyone they can order whatever they like. Qingqing opts for a pink lady, and Jiao Wen, being responsible since she has to drive, requests a lime mojito with no alcohol. After everyone finishes ordering, Shinno turns to Xingwang and asks what he wants. As he gazes around in awe at the bar's vibrant environment, Shinno silently notes that he probably isn't really a rich second-generation heir, suspecting he's never been to a bar before based on his reaction. When Xingwang finally looks back at her, she repeats her question, to which he replies with a smile that anything is fine for him. Seizing the opportunity, Shinno instructs the waiter to bring him a Long Island iced tea, one of the strongest drinks on the menu. Qingqing, noticing this, quietly questions Shinno's motives, asking why she ordered such a strong drink for him. She wonders if Shinno is trying to make Xingwang spill the truth once he's drunk and warns her not to take it too far. Shinno nonchalantly responds to Qingqing's concerns, saying that a bar is just a place to drink, and as the music pulses around them, she mentions a bartender named Danny at Fugue Bar who makes amazing drinks, though they're a bit pricey, and she's really eager to try them. As she takes a sip of her drink, Jiao Wen advises her to know when to stop, but Shinno, with a mischievous smile, replies that if Xingwang is pretending to be rich, then he should be taught a lesson. It might help him find his way back to reality. This leaves Jiao Wen perplexed and a bit uneasy. Shinno calls out to Xingwang, but he seems distracted, scanning the bar for potential business partners. He's already thinking ahead, realizing that he needs to make more money and build connections. Shinno, growing agitated, assumes he's pretending not to hear her. However, just as she's about to get more irritated, Xingwang turns back to the girls and asks Shinno if she was calling for him. Shinno, eager to put her plan into action, tells Xingwang that he looks a bit bored and suggests they play a dice game. Xingwang, curious and enthusiastic, asks how the game is played. Shinno slams down the dice cone cover on the table, explaining that they should make the game more exciting. She proposes that if someone loses a round, they either have to take off a piece of clothing or pay 10,000 yuan instead. She then provocatively asks if he wants to play with those rules. Xingwang sighs, stands up in front of Shinno, and tells her not to forget that he used to be the company's operations manager and knows all about her registered information and skills. He asks if she really thinks he doesn't know that she's an expert at dice and that no one in the company can beat her. He accuses her of trying to trick him into giving her money, leaving her shocked. Xingwang then confronts her, saying he knows what she's thinking, that he's just a mere operations guy earning only 5,000 a month, with no bright future, looking dirt poor and inexperienced. But today, he's dressed in Louis Vuitton and top-tier luxury brands, taking them all to an upscale restaurant, and he asks if she really thinks he's pretending to be rich. With a smirk, he tells her he wanted to let things slide because he didn't want to see Jiao Wenlu's face. He continues, saying he knows Xinno sees him as an easy target but reassures her that he isn't that stupid or a pushover. He adds that she shouldn't think he can't see the looks of disdain and suspicion in her eyes. As he finishes, the system rewards him with 1 million yuan, praising him for refusing to engage in internal conflicts, not being a people-pleaser, and boldly exposing other schemes without falling into their trap. His current balance now stands at 1.89 million yuan. Xingwang continues, remarking that he isn't from a rich family, but before he can finish, Xinno points her finger at him and declares to everyone that she was right, he was pretending and trying to act rich when he isn't. Xingwang sighs and asks her not to rush, saying he hasn't finished speaking. He then steps closer to her with a smirk, adding that although he isn't from a rich family, he still has plenty of money. He offers her 300,000 yuan for all of her clothes and challenges her to walk out naked. Blushing, Xinno stammers, accusing Xingwang of being outrageous. But before things escalate further, Jiao Wen interrupts, trying to defuse the situation. She tells Xingwang that Xinno was just joking and asks him not to be angry, urging him to sit down and enjoy the evening with them. However, Xinno, still not backing down, questions Xingwang's offer of 300,000 yuan, asking who would believe he had that kind of money. To her surprise, Xingwang suddenly shouts to everyone in the bar that tonight he'll spend 300,000 yuan to treat everyone to drinks and that they shouldn't leave until they're drunk. The crowd is stunned, and soon they're cheering and thanking him for his generosity. Xingwang holds his golden card high above his head, declaring that he'll pay by card right now. After a short while, the waiter returns with his card, respectfully presenting it to him, and announces that the payment of 300,000 yuan has been successfully made. The entire bar erupts in joy, with people celebrating, some in disbelief that they've been treated by a stranger, and others praying for Xingwang to have a lifetime of peace and prosperity. The system pops up again, notifying Xingwang that he treated everyone to drinks, calling him extravagant and generous, and rewards him with 666,666 yuan. As Xingwang walks back towards the girls, Xinno is in disbelief that he could actually come up with 300,000 yuan on the spot. As he walks past her, Xingwang tells her that he knows she looks down on poor guys like him who have no money and earn little, but it doesn't matter because he never intended to make her respect him. After all, people like her are just ants to him. Those who only care about other people's wallets can be easily humiliated by money. Xingwang then sits back down with the girls, while Xinno, now thoroughly embarrassed, joins them, unable to even look the others in the face. The atmosphere becomes tense and awkward as everyone sits in silence. Qingqing tries to speak, but before she can, Xinno abruptly stands up, mumbling that she suddenly remembered something she needed to do tonight. Without waiting for a response, she bolts out of the bar, humiliated and in tears, leaving the others behind in stunned silence. Thank you guys for watching till the end. If you liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.